Hello PSIR students, today we are going to discuss a very important concept, that is justice, and it is there in our preamble of the constitution as well. From time immemorial, the concept of justice is most debated, and so many theories, so many strands, so many dimensions of justice have developed over the period of time, because no political system or social system can remain stable unless high level of justice is being maintained. So, the root word of justice, jus, which is Latin word, which means bond which keeps the members of the society together. So, justice is a value-laden subjective term. It's not a objective term which can be quantified. Otherwise, you would have justice meter like ammeter, voltmeter, pyrometer, lactometer and likes. So, it's a value-laden subjective term, and it is being debated from time immemorial. In ancient Greek city-states, Plato and Aristotle always considered that justice is virtue in motion, and the virtue, that is good qualities, must be applied. Unless they are applied, it will not be justice. And Aristotle's statement, treating equals equally, that is numerical justice, and treating unequals unequally is proportional justice. And everybody would contribute according to his ability and will get according to his needs, ability and capacity, that is proportional justice. That is, more needy gets more, that is to ensure equity or equality of opportunity, and more able gets more, so that those individual excellence which promote social good, common good, they have to be promoted. Otherwise, there will be parasitism in the society. But for Plato, ability was defined in terms of desert or deserving or talent. For Aristotle, it was merit. So, treating unequals unequally. For Plato, one of the unique concepts of Plato is justice was not only external, but it is internal as well. So, you have to do good with others and you have to do good with yourself. And functional specialization, non-interference and harmony, they are the three principles of Platonic justice. Well, Aristotle talked about two kinds of justice: complete justice in ideal state, where everyone will be law-abiding, everyone will be patriotic, everyone will be moral. But particular justice is further divided into two kinds. One is distributive justice, distribution of public goods or social goods like award, reward, political offices, means of power, prestige, wealth, resources, opportunity, income. They are limited and the claims are many. Many claims are conflicting in nature. How to distribute them? So for distribution, which should be fair, just and reasonable, again the proportional principle is applied, that is, the distribution is as per needs, ability and capacity. So that is distributive justice. Then corrective justice. Aristotle talked about corrective justice also, that whenever something wrong happens in exchanges in the society, the victim must be compensated or must get relief in proportion to the loss, and the aggressor or the offender must be punished in proportion to the offense committed. So that is what is corrective justice. And liberals or liberalism, capitalism focus more on procedural justice, like Bentham, who talked about individualism, Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, social contract, individualism. For them, individualism was justice. For Hobbes, individualism in terms of security. For Locke, individualism in terms of individual freedom or liberty. And for Rousseau also, he says, I prefer peace with danger rather than I prefer liberty with danger rather than peace with slavery. So that is procedural justice. Bentham talks about prison reforms. He himself was criminal lawyer, so he favored rule of law, greatest happiness of greatest number, utility, that is happiness minus sorrow, 14 kinds of pleasure, 12 kinds of pain. So individualistic and more reforms in laws, efficiency in law administration, rule of law, minimum government, maximum governance is presently said by Modi, and Bentham says minimum government was also part of good governance. So, best government is one which governs the least. However, the liberals had legal view of state, while welfare state, positive liberalism, has sociological view of state, that the state was seen as human organization representing will of the people, like T.H. Green, father of positive liberty, J.S. Mill, father of positive liberalism, Lasky, McIver, they always prefer that state represents will of the people and it's a human organization and it works for the welfare of the people. Later welfareism was promoted by Keynes also to work on demand side, and when deficit financing is done, more extra currency notes are being printed, dig the well, fill the well, more money given in the hands of the people, there will be some inflation, but there will be growth and there will be demand and there will be revival of growth. So relief, rescue, rehabilitation. So that was followed by Woodrow Wilson, New Deal 1932-1 and New Deal 1936. However, after Second World War, 1950 onwards, neoliberals rejected welfare theory of a state and they favor that they gave economic view of a state as a seller and citizen as a consumer, and the consumer or the citizens must get quality goods, services in a time-bound manner. That is good governance. So, in political justice, we have rule of law, equality before law, citizenship, transparency, right to information, civil liberties, political liberties, citizenship, decentralization, democratization, good governance, they are part of political justice. When we talk about social justice, in India, B.R. Ambedkar was considered to be the greatest champion of social justice. Article 46, Part 16, Article 335 in particular. They also talked about Article 15 and 16. They talk about social justice. So justice involves balancing the claims of individual freedom with socio-economic equality in a fair manner, in a just manner, in a non-partition manner, in an unbiased manner. So fair, that is, justice should not only be done, it should be seen also. So Rawls' theory of justice, he talked all three kinds of justice, that is procedural justice, contractual justice and distributive justice. All the three kinds of justice he followed, and in his principles of justice, first liberty for all, second equality of opportunity for all, and third, that is difference principle, that if weakest part of the chain has to be strengthened, then the strongest part of the chain must be incentivized, not should be suppressed. So Rawls' theory of justice was furthered by Amartya, who is not only talking in terms of equitable distribution of wealth and resources. He talks about is not what man is having, but what man can be, what man can do. So being and doing, being worth of one. So equality of capability, equality of ability. Merely equitable distribution of wealth and resources will not do. Merely taxing the rich and giving subsidy to the poor is not justice, and it is not sustainable. Capability enhancement of the poor, so that he is not considering that justice is a destination where one has to achieve like Plato. He says that justice is an ongoing process, it's an ongoing evolving process. We must doing away with the injustice and we must expand the justice. So the justice is one of the most debated issue. It's a feminist talk about gender justice. They distinguish between sex difference, and which is biological, and gender difference, which is social, man-made, artificial, must be done away with. So feminists favor, they are against patriarchal society. They also claim that most of the political ideologies, be it socialism, liberalism, capitalism, they are gender blind, fascism, Nazism. So they talk about the human rights as women rights, and women are most vulnerable sections of the society, and according to Plato, Plato is considered to be first feminist, and women were the first to be suppressed. J.S. Mill in 19th century also was feminist. He says that progress of society depends upon upliftment of women. It's not only upliftment of women, but progress of the whole society. And the discrimination with the women is itself against society. He favored that women should have rights in property. In 19th century England, women had no rights over their children, her children and property. So he and his wife advocated property rights for women, and that was also favored by Amartya Sen, that progress of women is not in the interest of women only, but in the interest of the whole society. Because if 50% of society are being discriminated, are being deprived, society is not able to realize the full potential. So there are different kinds of justice. So economic justice, like we see in terms of redistributive role of the state, taxing the rich and giving subsidy to the poor. So we have to reduce inequality in justice, but we have to balance it with entrepreneurship, the tendency of savings, enterprise, the contribution, the excellence, merit, efficiency should not be compromised. So that should be balanced. So it is different in different societies. In more prosperous society, liberty is preferred over equality. But for socialism, Marxism, socio-economic equality should be preferred over liberty. And for liberals, the justice is focusing on civil and political rights. For socialist Marxist, justice is focusing more on socio-economic rights. For third world countries, justice focuses on cultural rights, religious rights, rights of national self-determination, rights against imperialism. So justice is quite a debated issue, and now our system law has also been changed. Earlier it was Indian Penal Code. So IPC, that was Dand Sanhita, means the purpose of the imperial government was to punish. But now is BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, balancing between the victim and the accused, both is justice. So justice has an evolving concept, and in 21st century we see various notions of justice coming from the new social movement, whether it's LGBT, whether it's gays pride, whether it's small is beautiful for environmentalists, for whether black aesthetics, for black those who have black skin are being discriminated. So these are the new concepts of evolving concepts of justice, and it is going on from the time immemorial. So in all political theories, all political thinkers, they talk about justice. Even if we see Plato, Aristotle in ancient period, pre-Christian period, even in ancient India, Manu Kautilya, Brahminical theory of justice, where dand was given with discrimination. Brahmins could not be given death sentence or harsh punishment, while Shudras were considered to be thick-skinned and they were not considered to appear as witness. So there, the discrimination based on caste was justice. So Manu talk about that, but Buddha talk about egalitarianism, equity, that is karuna, that is passion, that is moreover samta, that is equality, the pragya, that is wisdom, pragya, karuna, samta, then equity, all those, gender justice, sangha, Buddha, Dham, sangha. So in medieval period there was retributive justice, an eye for eye, a life for life, leg for leg. So that purpose of justice was the taking revenge. Although Sir Syed Ahmad Khan in 19th century said that Quran never permitted corporal punishment or amputation of any organ. But latter laws, Islamic laws like Hadith, they favored corporal punishment or amputation of the organs. So an eye for eye will make the whole world blind. That was the statement of Gandhi. So revenge is not the purpose of justice in present. The purpose of justice is to ensure that it is inclusive, it is balanced, it is fair, it is just, it is unbiased, it is meant for all, it is the proportion, and this will be evolving process. So justice is one of the most debated issue in all theories, on all thinkers. It will come even in liberalism, like Adam Smith, Ricardo, Malthus, Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, Shakespeare, Milton, Darwin. They talk about natural rights in justice. They talk about the highlighting and the nature of nature and to downplay the role of a state, non-interventionist state, for capital formation, capital creation, and downward filtration as justice. So for them, wealth creation and then distribution was justice. But in socialism, Distribution was the first virtue of justice and creation was secondary. Similarly, in welfare state, the notion changed. Welfare state in neoliberals like Isaiah Berlin, like Milton Friedman, they rejected social justice and they claim that progressive taxation was bonded labor and social justice was mirage. So they rejected social justice and they focused on excellence, merit and creation of wealth. So in nutshell, we have discussed different theories of and dimensions of justice. Thank you.